Hello, so I'm going to be talking about the controversial art piece known as Immersion, or better known as Piss Christ. So, real quick about the artist, Andre Serrano is an installation artist based in Brooklyn. It's funny, I was going to call him a photographer, but then after a quick search of his personal website, I found this quote. I've never called myself a photographer. I studied painting and sculpture, and I saw myself as an artist with a camera. I learned everything I know about art from Marcel Duchamp, who taught me that anything, including a photograph, could be a work of art. And when it comes to Serrano's work, that quote could not be more on point. The idea of anything could be art could certainly apply to Serrano's 1987 piece titled Immersion, or better known as Piss Christ. So what exactly is Piss Christ? The actual version is a large 40 by 60-foot print of a photograph of a small crucifix in a amber colored liquid, and the artist himself claims that this is his own urine, and it was part of a collection with other pieces that showed religious iconography in being submerged in bodily fluids such as milk or blood. And needless to say, people were not too thrilled about this piece. So it's safe to say most people who would consider themselves avid Christians or avid practitioners of Christianity would take some offense to this work. In America, when this piece was first shown, it actually didn't get as bad press initially as you'd think. But this did change. One of the main people who spoke out against this was a conservative senator from North Carolina named Jesse Helms. He was not a fan of Serrano by any means. He is quoted as saying, "He is not an artist, he's a jerk. No, it's all right for him to be a jerk, but let him be a jerk on his own time and with his own money." There's also another senator, Alphonse D'Amato, who called the work deplorable, despicable, and vulgar, and even went on to rip up a copy of the piece publicly. But Mr. Helms, he brings to light another reason besides it being Jesus peed on that it would offend people. So Serrano received a grant from the National Endowment of Art to put on the show that Piss Christ was featured in. People, including the senator, were upset because federal money was being used to create a piece that some would deem offensive. When I thought about this, I kept going back and forth on it. I completely believe in freedom of expression when it comes to art and works of art, but I do see where, people would have trouble with this being nationally funded if it was in most degrees offensive to a large group of people, a large group of Americans. But this piece didn't just have controversy in America, it made its ways overseas to France. This piece was shown in a gallery in Avignon, and a lobby group known as Civistas, whose goal was to re-Christianize France, were very outspoken about their hatred for the piece. There's also a conservative archbishop named Jean-Pierre Catanaz, who referred to the piece as odious and wanted that trash taken off the gallery walls. The gallery was met with a lot of, quote, extremist harassment. At one point, there were around 1,000 protesters marching onto the gallery. The gallery ramped up security after putting up plexiglass and putting 2 guards there just to make sure that nothing happened to the piece. However, one day, 4 people came in. They were wearing masks, and one of them had a hammer in his sock, and despite the guard's efforts, the man was able to smash the plexiglass while another man used either a screwdriver or an ice pick to slash the photograph. they also went on to destroy some other pieces that they deemed inappropriate in the gallery. This is just, again, shows how vehemently people hated this piece. Um, and with all this in mind, um, you might wonder why Serrano would create this piece. Did he just want to get a rise out of people? Does he hate the church? And no, the answer is a little more nuanced than that. Serrano has made a lot of statements about this piece, especially after the controversy started to boil up. Um, and he said that it is not meant to be an offense to Christianity. It is meant to, however, criticize that of the billion-dollar Christ for profit industry, as he calls it. And he also called it a condemnation of those who would abuse the teachings of Christ and their ignoble ends. To him, quote, what it symbolizes is the way Christ died. The blood came out of him, but so did the piss and the shit. Maybe if Piss Christ upsets you, it's because it gives some sense of what the crucifixion was actually like. He's making a commentary on the beautification of the crucifixion, which in actuality was a brutal execution process, and he challenges the idea of it being used as a symbol and something to profit off of. He's essentially saying, if you want to use this symbol, you need to take all the parts of it, not just the romanticized aspects, but the gross, gory aspects of it too. Overall, I think Piss Christ is a very interesting and thought-provoking piece. On the surface, I can clearly see where people are getting offended by this, and I'm honestly, I really do get it. But when you look more into what the artist wanted and the thing he was trying to say, I think it also gets that across. You just need to drop your pre-existing notions on, on what like the surface level of the art might be. But that just about wraps it up. Thank you.